it
You
works,
can edit
but you
that
can't
part out.
hear
We
it.
made the first story.
Okay, here we are.
Yeah.
It is July
Okay.
21st,
You could do it though.
2019
I'll just put my audio
at
on.
2095 Denise Lane, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And we have an attendance. We're going to start with you right here, young lady.
Okay, my favorite memory is when Daniel and Christina and all the kids were little, and we went to Lake Tahoe, and we wanted Daniel to get some of his energy out, so he was running around, and he was running like a deer. And then we got all the rest of the kids together, and they all got, and I told them that if they went and got these pine cones, and Daniel was the one that knew where the pine cones were, so he was running to get all these pine cones, to get all these seeds out of it, because they were piñon nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a big pile of piñon nuts, and they said, now what are we gonna do with them? I said, well, now we'll crack them and see if they're any good. So after we had this great big pile of piñon nuts that we'd all been taken out of these pine cones, they were all rotten. They were none of them were any good.
Grand.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that, do you, Daniel?
No, I was too little. I don't remember.
Oh my God.
I remember that. You remember that? I
Do
remember
you?
that.
How can you
I don't
possibly
remember that.
remember that?
Because I remember the weirdest things and I can't remember the most important things.
Oh.
It's called Guy syndrome. I got it from you, my dad, you know?
It's a chronic disease, I'm
weird.
afraid.
I remember the most innocuous stuff, but there are things that are
Hereditary.
really important that I can't remember for nothing.
Anybody want to volunteer the next memory? Just let me know, because I will know where to point this thing. Otherwise, I'm just panning. I don't want to.
I have a memory that I want to share, and it goes way back to Placerville, and it was when Kirk came over to help us put on a new roof.
Oh, I remember that.
And Christina and Daniel were there, and
I remember that.
everybody was
Kirk was
there.
there?
I think, Matthew, you were there.
I may have been.
And we're
Gabriel was there, Mary was there.
we're putting on the roof, and Daniel wants to get on the roof. Can I get on the roof? 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 Okay, Daniel, you can come up on the roof. He comes up on the roof. Christina tells her mom, Daniel's on the roof. I'll never hear the end of it.
But the whole story is, we said, whatever you do, do not tell your mother that you guys were on the roof. First thing out of her mouth, and I'm looking at her in horrification, going, what in the hell just happened?
But you missed this important detail. You had Lincoln Park running on loop for hours. Like, what was it, 8 hours straight? It was
God.
Lincoln Park all day long, which I love Lincoln Park, but all day long.
All day long.
Yeah, all day.
Damn.
Can't do that all day. I remember Big Sur. We used to do this family vacation every year, and Sherry, Daniel, and Christina were all there. All four of us were there. We used to do this every single year. And Daniel, I got pretty good at catching the little crawdads out of the streams, and Daniel was trying to play with them with me at one point. And Daniel, we would tie a piece of bacon to a string and then swing it down in the river, and the crawdads would go out and grab it and take it in, and then you just pull the crawdad up because they're not going to let go. You pull them up and then you dump in a bucket, and you get like 5 or 6 of these things. And Dad was going, well, if you get enough of them, we'll cook them. And I'm sure that was never going to happen, but Dad was just trying to keep us busy, which is cool. So Daniel and I are down there, and at one point this crawdad just grabbed a hold of Daniel's finger, and you want to talk about squealing like a girl.
Come on, it must have been like 4 years old.
No, I'm just saying, you were howling so loud we thought your finger had been cut off, and this little crawdad's just dangling by your finger, and you're like, ah! And finally got the thing off, and then like Christina, she was so small, she was up at the campsite. And at one point, you know, Sherry, the story with Sherry where she was just crying and crying and crying, and finally Sherry pulled out the camera. Christina's, this smile, this goofy grin. And then I also remember in the house when I was, Daniel and Christina were both crawling, and I was on the floor. I lay down on the floor on my belly, and they would both beat me up, and we'd toss them around, and they both beat me up. And there's good times with my brother and sister, and Sherry was always there picking on me, and that's just the way it goes.
It was mutual picking,
You
for
had a
sure.
hat that said Butthead University.
Yes.
You had a t-shirt that said Butthead University. You
I
had
got-
a hat made out of underwear. So.
I got my BS at BU.
Yes.
And it was a gift for Christmas, and I
Yes.
didn't like it, but I wore it just to make you laugh, and that was good enough for me. So
He wore the underwear hat too.
yeah, I wore it to make you laugh. I'm glad it worked. And Sherry, I remember going to Great America for your birthday and coming home and having fried chicken with
I
Mom.
don't remember that.
We went to Great America for your birthday. Uncle Ray took us.
I don't
And
remember
Uncle
that.
Ray left a message on the voice machine at Mom's house saying, we're taking the kids going to Great America, dickhead. And it was Uncle Ray trying to be funny.
Edit that out.
Yeah, we might have to edit that. But that was the saying at the time because of the movie Weird Science. And they took us to Great
Yeah,
America.
I don't remember that
I
one.
remember riding the Demon, the roller coaster that flips upside down. Yeah.
Crazy.
So.
Okay, who's got another memory? Somebody we haven't heard from.
Christina.
Christina.
I'm still thinking here. I'll have to share a few.
Okay.
The first one that came to mind was we actually already have this on camera. It's when Dad and Sherry and
Aunt
was it
Mary
Aunt Mary
Had
in the kitchen
wooden spoons.
during Christmas time
Your dad was
singing to
Elvis.
Elvis.
Blue Christmas.
And we were cooking and laughing, listening to music.
And you had done my hair into 4 ponytails. One here,
Yes.
one here, and one down here. And you thought it was the most beautiful
Pigtails.
hairstyle in the world.
You gave me a jewelry pouch that I wore on my head.
I did. We
Yes.
looked fabulous,
It was
all of
great.
us. Oh, I forgot to show me. Am I me? Okay.
Am I me?
Well, I mean, I don't know if that. What I meant to say was, can you see me? But nobody's out there to see that. So.
Wait, how was the ponytail again?
You,
One here,
Yeah.
literally, and then one down here. I have never had a hairstyle like that since then. But I said, "What do you think?" She was so proud. I said, "Honey, I'm wearing my hair like this," and you would have thought she'd done it. It was beautiful. Yeah.
She was a famous
Professional
hairstylist.
I was. Yeah, it's like, you got to do that for your kids, right?
It was just phenomenal when Dad zoomed it in. While
I
we were on
know. Yes, it was. Oh God. Okay, I have a story, and so here I go.
There you go.
We're camping at Brandon Island with Daniel, Christina, Tom, Cindy, Donna, Dad, and myself. Just 15 minutes from the kids' mom's house. And Tom and I are at the campsite, and the kids were somewhere. And Christina showed up. I called. She showed. We could not find Daniel. And it was 40 minutes, and I kid you not, my heart was in my throat. Even if I talk about it, I get really upset because we had everyone at this campsite, and everyone, even the camp, what do they call those people that stay there? The host was on his golf cart with.
They were getting ready to call the dogs.
They were calling the dogs from Sacramento County the cadaver dogs because we thought he was in the water. Okay, we didn't know where he was, but it was typical of this kid to haul his ass off somewhere and not show up. And worst case scenario, Mom, and all I could think was, I cannot not have my kid. I can't.
Everybody's going through the park.
Daniel, are you Daniel? We said, okay, red head, black swims trunks, red shirt, or green, who cares? I don't remember what he was wearing. And the camp counselor had actually driven two boys by the water bank.
On a
Seeing
boat.
Daniel.
On a boat. This guy passed me on a boat. Are you Daniel? And I was like, that's some stranger. I'm not going to tell him who I am.
I don't remember exactly how it came that he rode up.
I just walked back
He
up
walked
to the
back up there,
campground.
and
everybody's freaking out.
Uncle Tom McMicken says to Daniel, "Boy, you're gonna need a ladder because the hole you have dug is so deep. I don't know when you're getting out." First thing I did was hug him, and I want to slap him upside the head, but I didn't. I said, "I'm so angry at you right now. I'm so happy to see you, don't you ever? And that's when we bought walkie-talkies that I made him keep on his body so that I would know where the heck the kid is.
That's not the only time that he scared the shit out of us.
Yeah.
Oh, he's done that a lot. That scenario has happened more
No,
times.
I can remember going to the mall, and you were with us in the mall, and you just took off.
Oh yeah, that happened all
I
the time.
remember that because
all
he
And it's
called
like, where
us.
the hell did Daniel go?
That's
And
why I
I'm freaking out, going, I don't know where he is. And I turned my head and I saw this red flash go by. He's in the arcade.
Yeah.
But I saw this red flash go by, and that's how I.
You guys, like, we'd go on these big family mall trips, and everybody would just go off and just disperse. And there was Daniel, and I'm looking around, like, I'm the only one watching him. So I would follow him, and he would go. He would, like lightning, he would just zoom. And I just, as long as I could see him, I knew that he was okay, but I followed you everywhere.
Yeah, and then you would hide underneath the clothes.
We
Yes.
found him one time
Yeah.
in the middle of those circular clothes racks. And he was
everybody-
giggling, the little shit. That's the only reason I
And
found
so
it.
was-
Yes, I said
look
little
at me.
shit.
Look at that grin on his face right now. He knows exactly the trouble he caused.
Angelina was so little, so we'd actually find her in the cupboard, you know, where the bowls are in the cupboard with it shut. In the cupboard.
Daniel, I can't wait till you have kids so that I can tell them what to do to you. Hey, you want to do your dad? Yeah. That's called payback.
That's mean. That's when you love your kids so much you have to restrain not the living heck
Well, you
out
know
of
what?
The messed up thing
They
is
had
right
so
now,
much
the younger
trouble
kids
with
get, the more they
keeping
have
track
cell
of him
phones. It's like
that he called us up and I bought him. I was working at Sam's and I told Norman, I said, Wayne, we gotta help Wayne. So I got this thing that you put on your back that you can put him on.
Oh yeah, backpack for a kid.
And he said that was the best thing that he ever had, and he took pictures of him.
Yep.
And he had these great big sunglasses on you and just little bitty face.
Yep.
That was the original dude with the backpack and the baby kid.
Yeah.
It was Dad with you in his
Yes.
backpack.
That's right.
It wasn't across the front with the little thing
No,
with
he
the
had one.
sunglasses.
He had Christina on the front.
Yeah,
He
you
had
had
Daniel in the back
Christina
and
in the front,
Christina on
and
the
Dad,
front.
yeah, exactly. Now I remember we were up in New Hampshire seeing Grandma and Grandpa in New Hampshire, and this was way before Daniel and Christina. But I was sledding, and there was this big hill that Grandma and Grandpa lived on. And when you sled down, there's a road on the end, on the bottom. And I remember sledding down this hill, and Dad, he sees me, and he realizes there's a car coming, and Dad just screams down this hill and cuts right in front of me and stops me, and I plow into this thing and dump over the sled. And I look up, and Dad's like, "You scared the crap out of me, boy!" And then right about then, the car drives by.
Yeah.
It was
I
like,
remember that.
oh,
Yeah. He did.
Yeah,
It
but
was
he
at-
just wanted
it
to
was
do it
at
again.
Christmas.
oh yeah, I wanted to go back up and sled down the hill again.
That was at Christmas time when you
Yeah, it
were
was.
there.
And you would make snow. You would take the snow, and then you would put maple syrup on the snow and make candy for us kids.
That was sugar on ice.
Yep.
Sugar on snow.
Yep.
Your grandpa used to
It
do
was
that.
maple syrup, fresh maple syrup on top of the snow and make candy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was wonderful. But that was the one memory that I have of Dad saving my life. Literally.
But I thought that was Daniel. I don't know why I had it in my mind.
No, that was me.
But it was you. I
Yep.
remember you got up in the head because we had that.
I'm not even sure if Daniel was born
He
yet.
wasn't
No,
born
this
yet.
was
I was
right.
little.
Oh,
I
okay.
was about 7 or 8 years old. I was little.
I don't know how I remember that story,
Well,
but I
because
do
you,
remember that story because I would have been dead if it wasn't for you.
well, that road was 450 feet up, and the way it goes like this, and then up here is a big hill. Well, you got up on top of that hill, and when you hit the top of that hill, and I thought you were going to kill yourself because you were airborne. When you went airborne, you landed on that driveway, and that's when he saw you going down the driveway. But yeah, we had a lot of experiences on that driveway because I remember your grandpa and we went on that dumb driveway, and I told him, I said, because we had to leave the car at the bottom of the hill, and so I told him, I said, why don't we take the sled and we'll go on with the sled down the bottom of the hill. Well, there was a truck coming, the snow truck was coming just like with you. And so he said, we're going to get killed. So he puts his legs out like this to stop us. And then he pulled a groin muscle. And then I had to put him in that sled and take him back up. But we had a lot of experiences with that eel. But you initiated it.
Oh, so it was all my fault.
Yeah.
I don't mind taking
Okay,
credit.
I have a good memory. This is
Let me your hand gets tired.
this is when me and Christina were really young, and we just first started going up to your house in Placerville. And Dad had moved up there, and my mom was kind of a stickler for being clean, to say the least. So she would never let us run around outside and get all dirty or anything like that. And Cynthia was like, "Oh, there's some value to letting your kids get all dirty and muddy." So I remember you let us play out in the mud and get just filthy, just head to toe, mud everywhere.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the coolest thing. Like, we'd never got to experience anything like that before.
Well, there were contingencies with this. The minute the kids came to the house, they took off their mom's clothes and we put them somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
We went to hospice and bought. We went to hospice and we bought clothes that were bigger than they were, so they could grow into them. And I said, "Go put those on, and now go have fun." Well, the first time he asked me, "Can we go out and play in mud?" It was raining. I said, "Absolutely." The other contingency is you need to make sure, please, that you stop at the door, strip, I'll hose you down, then you can come in. That way, it wasn't going to be tracked into the house. I already had dogs doing that
I was
anyway.
gonna say, was this before or after Jazz?
I don't remember.
Was Jazz playing
he
with
was
you
wee.
guys, or was
I
it-
don't remember, Jazz.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's the way we roll.
Yeah, that house was so awesome. And it was really cool for me, at least as a young boy, being able to go up into the woods and just, run around in the backyard and look at the bugs and go on those little trails back there.
The fresh
And
bay
now look at
leaves.
you.
I remember you and me went hiking back out
Yep.
there, and we found that little brook with the
Yep.
And that's where Jazz
tadpoles
used to
in
go
it.
and roll, and
Yeah,
oh
man.
God, she smelled
That
bad.
was such a cool property.
Jazz was awesome. Jazz, we just got her, and Cynthia
good.
says, I get up from school and I get ready to go out to go to school, and Mom's in the kitchen and she says, "Matthew, you'll never guess what your dog did." And I'm like, "You're right, I won't guess what happened." And she's like, "Look by the front door," and I'm looking for dog poop. And I'm looking around the front door and I didn't see nothing, and I'm like, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about." And she goes, "Look at the wall on the floor by the front door. And there's this hole in the wall by the front door. And I can see teeth marks in this chunk of wall." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I said, "Jazz, come here." And she comes over and I pulled her lips up and she had drywall up in her gums. And I'm like, "What are you doing eating the wall?" And Mom's in the kitchen just laughing her butt off. She's like, "I don't know what she did or why. Maybe she needed more drywall in her diet." Just
I remember seeing that the hole was like at least an inch deep.
this big.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
completely through.
No.
So evidently she likes gypsum for some reason.
I mean, maybe she just needed something in her diet that she didn't have.
Yeah, I guess
So I remember when Dad got boots, and I think Cody was with us when he got boots.
Are
and
you kidding? All
Yeah.
of you kids.
So-
All four of you.
Yeah.
Zach,
Yeah.
Cody,
Yes.
Daniel, and Christina
And we were
went to
looking in the
Kmart for
box.
Daniel to get tennis shoes.
I'll never
To get
forget
ski
that.
glasses. For
And we
his
bring
trip.
we get the runt out of the litter. It's Boots, right? She's the cutest one, the fluffiest one, and we bring her home and we put her at the front door and she just flops down. It doesn't move for like 20 minutes. And Sherry's going, "That dog must be broken."
But I'm not sure how we picked that dog because
Dog's broken.
we're walking up to the Target or
It was Kmart.
Kmart, wherever we were going, and I guess the dad already knew there was a box of puppies in the front, so he's on the phone, and Cynthia's saying, "Don't look in the box, whatever you do, don't look in the box." So we get up closer to the front entryway, and Cody and Daniel and I were like, "Oh, puppies," and all of a sudden Dad is like, "Okay, I'm not part of this anymore."
Well, I wasn't there. I was at home. Your
You
dad
just pointed
took
the
you
missile
kids.
in the right direction and let it
And-
go.
Yeah, I've told your dad a billion times, when you go to any kind of store and there's boxes of
Look
little
in the box.
quadrupeds, point out the pink elephant in the sky to the children so they look in the opposite direction. You shoo their little asses into the place so that they don't even see the little
The
live
box is in front
cuteness.
of the store in the doorway. How are you gonna not-
Absolutely, and if you divert, you have it all going
You
on.
divert poor kids that
Yes.
are, this big.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
But
Well-
I'm not sure how
You
how
weren't
we
there.
actually picked the dog, though. So we're all looking in the box, and
I'm saying, oh, let's go with that one. Daniel's saying, let's go with that one. And Cody's saying, no, let's do this one. So Dad's like, okay. Everybody pick out the dog that they want, hold them up, and we'll look at it. So that's what we did. I don't know how the owners like let us do that. we
There's a bunch of
you
kids.
line us up. We each. And Dad is like, okay, you get to say why you think it should be this dog.
Oh God, you had too much fun with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did.
So I'm holding this one. I'm saying I think it's the cutest because it's the runt of the litter. It's the smallest, you know. And then Daniel's over here with this one. Well, it's a little chunky. Let's do this one. And then Cody's over here. No, this one's got the best fur. So we ended up choosing one, and then that's how we ended up.
But wait,
choosing
Got the
there's a
broken
little
one.
part that
Yeah.
you're skipping. I get a phone call, and this is back in the day where the cell phones were not really prominent.
Yes.
So when your dad calls me with the 4 kids gone, I'm thinking,
dare.
what preserved? Oh my God, we have to go to the hospital. I'm flipping out with the phone call. He goes, hi. I said, what's wrong? He said, well, we're at Kmart. I said, did you get Daniel's shoes? Well, I said, Wayne, talk to me. He goes, well, everything's fine, but there are these really cute, and I knew that when he said cute, I'm like, oh
Don't do
my
it.
dear God. I said,
Threaten his life.
you let them look in the box.
You let
He
them
said,
look
well,
in the box.
yeah. I said, did you not remember the story I told? He said, no, I did not remember the story. I said, Wayne, no. We have a dog. Her name is Jazz. We don't need another dog. And this was 15 minutes of no. Are you gonna brush it? Sure. Feed it? Sure. Vet?
remember
Yep. Everything. Train it? Sure. It's your dog? Yeah. I finally concede. I don't want another dog. There's not even a fiber of my being that wants another dog.
But Jazz was so well behaved.
So
Oh, really?
the dog is coming. I call Mom.
Yes,
I
she
said,
did.
you know what your son did?
She
He
called
let
me
them
up.
look in the box.
I said you're a wet box.
I was so ticked off, I can't even explain it.
Now you think Jazz wasn't well behaved, and I want to tell you something about that dog. I trained that dog in German, English, and sign language, and she knew a variety
But
of
she
commands.
did what the hell she wanted when the
But-
gate opened.
Hold on.
Every time Kurt came to visit, he let her have fun.
Can I? At one point, Cynthia's like, "You messed up." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You taught that dog how to creep." And I said, "Yeah, I taught her how to low crawl." And she's like, "That's really cool, except for she doesn't do it on command. She does it when she wants to." And so she would have Jazz sit, stay in the
Lay
threshold, lay down, sit,
She's
stay,
like shit.
and then she would be in the kitchen cooking, and Jazz would just creep up right behind her, and Mom would be cooking, and she'd turn around, step on the dog. She's like, "How did you get over here?" And Jazz was like, "I don't know."
I'm laying down. I'm
Still
laying
laying
Get
down.
back over there. So she get her back over the hallway. She's like, "Lay down, stay." And Jazz was like, "Okay, I'm not going nowhere." And then Mom would go back cooking, and Jazz was like, "Get back in the kitchen." So don't tell me she wasn't well behaved. She was trained. She just had her own
But
little.
she did what she wanted when the gate opened.
And not only that, but she did what she wanted when I wasn't around.
Yeah.
If I wasn't around to give her the command, she, okay, all bets
Oh,
are
there.
off. And then I disappeared and
There you
sorry. Sorry.
That was funny though when she calls up and she says, "You know what your son did?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "He let the kids look in the box." I said, "What box?"
Oh, that's another thing. Cynthia and Dad, whenever the kids, any of us, did something good, it was like, "Oh, look what our boy did," or "Oh, look what our girl did." But if we did something wrong, it was, "Can you believe what your son did?" "Can you believe what your daughter did?"
Yeah.
Yep.
I never did that.
No, you didn't. She did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
But one of the things I remember a lot is the trips that we had taking Daniel and Christina back and forth between Antioch and Placerville.
Oh yeah.
And we used to listen to music and sing, and they always wanted to go the bump way.
Which was over by the refinery off of 580?
680.
680.
Going over the Benicia Bridge.
Yes,
And we'd
yes,
see
that
the,
was
the
bump way.
mothball fleet.
Right
Yeah.
at the petroleum
Yeah.
plant was where we run.
And every time you go over that road, there's a dip in it, and you lose your stomach. You know?
Yeah.
And they love that. It's like, "Can we go the bump way?"
I remember that. I also remember Sherry and I riding with you from San Jose to Fremont and San Jose to Antioch eventually, and it was always like anyone's guess who was going to be in the front seat.
Yeah.
And we used to turn the radio on, and we would, Dad had a CD or a tape, depending on what tape it was, and he would play 5 seconds of a song and then shut it off, and we'd be like, who was it? And what CD is it on, or what tape is it on? And we would play that game over and over and over again. And so, like, I got so good at that. Sherry got so good at that. And
I don't remember that.
you don't remember that? No, Dad used to play a song, and we'd be calling it out. And
I don't remember
I
that.
just remember listening to music with you that way. And then now when we got music going in the truck, I'm like, Audrey, do you know who that is? She's like, I don't pay attention to that crap.
I do remember that you're more patient with the radio than anybody I've ever known, because I switched that thing constantly. It was every time a song would come on, it was switched, and I'm
still
not
do
that way.
that.
I still do it,
still
but
do
but I don't let anybody else do it in my car. So I don't know. You have the patience of a saint, because that was one thing with the radio. It was constantly switching and.
Okay, I guess we're done.
Anybody else? Last? Anybody? I just.
Angelina, you want to see?
She's
You have a lot of stories about me.
she's still a larvae. She doesn't remember things yet.
I have a story about Daniel and Christina. I've
There
already
you go.
shared about you, but my
Oh,
favorite.
thanks.
Well, I have. My favorite story is about Christina. We talked about it last night with the camera. It was like you could be having the biggest hissy fit known to mankind, and I'd pull on the camera, and all of a sudden you were all smiles. So those are my favorite things about you. I love that about you, and you, like I was telling Gael, you never had an off switch, and you never had a slow.
He still doesn't.
It was.
All the way down.
Gael is rolling her eyes. You can't see.
You came out of the room running. I mean,
Yes.
you were running. But I remember this one time. You were still a baby. You were still in a stroller, and it was one of our family mall trips, because that's what we did on Saturdays. We all went to the mall, and you were in a stroller, and I was pushing you in the stroller because I don't know, your mom disappeared, and I'm hearing you, and you were the most smiley, happy baby I'd ever seen in my life. Constant, your face was always. I don't think I ever saw him cry except for when he was hurt, like physically hurt somehow. Always laughing, and you made me laugh more than any kid I've ever known. To this day, you were just so much fun. You were a fun baby, and
He's still fun.
He's still fun. But you were hysterical, and you had this bright red hair and this smile that just lit up your whole face, and you were just so much fun. And so I'm pushing you in the stroller, and I'm making you laugh. We're like making each other laugh, because the more I laughed, the more you laughed. It was just one of those. And I'm hearing this sound behind me, and I'm like, and it was this, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm not looking behind me because I'm focused on you in the stroller. And I'm hearing this sound, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I finally turned around, and there was this lady, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or rude or anything, but she was pretty hefty. She was really big. And she was busting a gut watching you. Busting a gut. And it was like one of those things where it's just in my head. It was like you had everybody around you laughing because you were just a funny kid.
Daniel never walked anywhere.
No.
No.
Everywhere he went, he ran.
That's right.
And we'd take him over to Bernadette's house, and he was like
Yep.
a rocket bouncing off the walls, running here, running there, running here. Daniel, walk. Nope. You could walk for about 2 steps, but then.
Well, I had to write sentences for running down the hall.
I know. They would always be in the affirmative. I will walk in the hall. And as opposed to I will not, because you never do that. But I have one more memory that's so tender to my heart that I know when I tell it I might actually get a little bit.
Get the napkins. Come on.
No. I'm
Seriously.
gonna keep it together. But one of the things that I so treasure so much were evenings after dinner, after you guys had gotten your baths or your whatever showers, whatever you took, and gotten ready for bed, that we'd all go into the bedroom and read before you slept. And to me, that was such an amazing memory, and it was such a special quiet time just before you got sleepy that I will always thank you. I will always treasure that. And my one regret is I never got to do that with you two, because you already cooked and baked and done.
Yeah,
so.
well. But you get to do other stuff with us.
I know.
You get to hear all my.
I know. But I'm just saying that to me
I remember that too.
is a treasure, because those moments of quiet just before sleep, where they were hearing, Charlotte's Web or whatever the books were, because we had a plethora.
Joel Silverstein.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh God,
We
Dan would
love
always
that.
ask for
Sherry and I
that.
used to read that to each
Yeah.
other, and that was so
Okay,
much
thank
fun.
you. Anybody else?
I got one more too, and
It's always.
when Christina was young and she would start to get hungry or tired or cranky, they would put her in the car, and she would get in the car, and we'd go for a ride, right? And we'd go to the grocery store or whatever, and she'd be asleep. And it'd be time for us to get out and go into the grocery store, but nobody wanted to wake you up.
It's your turn. No, it's your turn.
And we would have arguments. It's your turn to wake up, Christina. I'm not doing it this time because
I did it last time.
whenever we would wake you up, you'd just be like,
Oh.
"Wow, why you wake me up?"
Just a little devil child.
So mean and just like, wow.
She was that way at home in bed. You know, trying to get her up.
Wake her up.
Your dad and I would
I'm not
constantly
getting
go,
her up.
okay, who's getting her up? I don't want to get her up.
I'm not waking
So
her up.
sometimes I got a little more clever when she got a tiny bit older, where I just go in and I'd stroke her forehead like this and I'd say, "Good morning, sunshine," as opposed to, "Hey, baby, it's time to go." She'd go, "Blah," and she'd go, you know, and she'd make that noise, the disapproval noise. She was a crabby little one. Yeah. Said, "I don't want to get up."
Did you guys?
I won't forget the one time when Donna, we had gone to this food symposium. It was a food thing in Sacramento. Donna, Aunt Donna and Christina and we went in Donna's Camaro. Christina wanted to go in the Camaro, the red Camaro. So we drove back. We decided we were going to make a roasted duck. We couldn't find duck, so we got chicken. We bought all the herbs for it. Well, we went to Rayleigh's, got to the parking lot, and she was asleep because we went from Sacramento to Placerville. Obviously, that's good. She didn't want to get out of the car. And I mean, she was arguing with me, and I said, "Okay, you have two choices. Either," because she was hungry, I said, "We need to go buy food so we can cook it. You can either get out of the car now, or we can go home and you won't eat. Which one would you like?" Oh, well, she didn't like that option either. So I ended up, and I'd never had to do it before, I got her out of her belt, and I actually had to take her and physically pick her up out of the car. And she didn't kick and scream. She was just crying. And I took her hand and I said, "Let's go, please." And we went. Well, she was pouting and grumping, and she was throwing a little fit of this me. Well, Donna goes, "Let me have her." I wasn't showing anger. I was just dragging her.
Determination.
And I'm winning.
Yeah.
I'm winning. So Donna got her. I don't know. We were in the spice aisle. I don't know what Donna said to you.
I remember that.
Do you remember what Donna said to you?
Yes.
Will you please tell me?
Yes. Donna got about this close to my face. The camera can see that.
Right up here.
Yeah. I've never had that woman get so close to my face, and she said, "You will behave, because we're not going to put up with this." And she just scared the hell out of me.
She's an intimidating woman if she wanted to be.
With her eyes so big, I was like,
And she got all cheery after that.
I won't argue anymore.
And she never did. She never gave me any garbage after that.
Did you guys ever hear the story about when Christina made me stop singing to her?
No.
That story?
No. Come on,
So-
Sherry.
Okay.
The look on your face. Are you gonna be able to share this?
I'll tell the story. It's a good one. You guys will like this one. When you had your full blown tantrums, they were pretty. Your mom just couldn't handle it. She had her just take the baby, make her stop crying. It was, I don't know what it was. It was a sister thing going on where I was always able to calm you down or whatever it was. It was one day when you would not stop crying, and I did everything. And I used to sing to you. I used to sing "Guardian Angel" by the Judds.
Mm-hmm.
I used to sing to you, and there came a point when you just didn't want to hear me sing anymore. And that day, you were just having a screaming fit, and there was nothing. And I would sing, I probably was at it for maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know. And I'm singing, and the crying is getting louder. And it's getting louder. And I'm like, "Christina, what is wrong?" "You're singing!" I said, "Christina." I said, "If I stop singing, will you stop crying?" And you, "Yes." And she stopped. She not a sound. She's done.
You're the baby.
You were just. I don't know
I know.
Oh my
I know I've shared a lot, and I'm sorry for sharing so much. I hope I'm not taking too much. But Daniel and I had a few brotherly love moments, and one in particular, he would not stop following me, and I wanted to go out and ride my bike. And Daniel would not stop. He would follow me anywhere I went through the house. I was trying to shake him so I could go out in the garage. And so finally, like, I go out in the garage, I open the door, I get in the garage, I close the door, and Daniel's pulling it open, and I'm pulling it back, and we're pulling it back and forth, and Dad comes up behind me, and Dad grabs Dad's hands compared to my hands when I was that size, you know. Dad's hand covers my hand, and he's like, pushes me out of the way, and I'm like, okay, so I stand back, and Dad's holding the door, and Daniel's pulling, and Dad lets the door go. It goes like this. And Daniel opens the door, looks right at Dad, and goes, ah! Turns around, and hauls ass up the stairs. And Dad looks at me and he goes, get your bike and get out of here.
I have another story about that.
I'll never forget that look on your face. It was pure, unadulterated horror. As you looked at Dad and were like, oh God, I am in trouble.
I have another story about Daniel.
Okay, go for it.
Let me know if your hands get tired.
You know, so we used to read this book every Christmas about. We watched.
See, you already got her going. This
I
is
know
good.
I can't remember.
It was
the
by
exact-
Barclay Breed,
Yeah.
and it's a story. Okay, go ahead. It's on Vashon Island.
So we would read that, and we would also watch A Christmas Story every Christmas, and about the Red Ryder BB gun.
That's
Yeah.
Daniel,
Oh, I know
at
where
one
this is
point,
I know this.
In fact, one of you has the book. I gave it
Yeah.
to one of you.
Daniel
Hopefully you
at
have
one
it.
point really wanted a BB gun, and so he would ask for it, and finally he got a BB gun.
Oh, I
I know where this is going.
Yeah.
So after he gets the gun, he's going out, and he's shooting the cans, and I'm getting, as you know, the sibling, getting all envious because I want to learn how to shoot cans too. So I go outside. I'm like, Daniel, can I shoot cans with you? And he goes, no, because this is my gun. I'm like, please, will you show me how to shoot the cans? And he's like, okay, fine. So let me show you how to do it. Well, we ran out of cans at that point, and he's showing me how he's describing how, I guess, precise you could get with the gun, and he's telling me that this gun is completely safe, it's fine, and so he asked me to go get a jacket so I can hold it for him so he could show me how it would or wouldn't go through the fabric of the jacket.
God. Daniel.
So he's like, okay, go get your jacket. So I come out with my raincoat that's probably about like this thick. It's a little puffy. And he's like, okay, go stand over there and hold it.
Oh my God.
I know. Andrea's going, this is going to be ugly.
So we're in the backyard. We're probably a couple feet away from each other, and I'm out like this holding the jacket. Dan was getting ready to shoot at the jacket. Cynthia comes out the back door and she goes, Daniel, what are you doing?
She wasn't even out the back door. She was in my room looking out the window.
I was,
and she's
because I was trying to supervise to watch and go, this doesn't look safe to me.
This
It
looks
just
a
does
little
not look
William
safe.
Tell kind of
That's
thing
sketchy
going.
at best.
Yeah.
So Cynthia comes out the door. She's like, Daniel, can you come here, please?
As opposed to, what the fuck are you doing? That's what I was thinking, but I was such a clone individual.
So all of a
I need to
sudden,
speak to you.
you see Daniel's face drop.
I'm in trouble.
And he goes inside, and I'm out there waiting for a couple minutes. I'm like, okay, they're talking just for a few minutes, and I don't hear anything. I'm like, okay, it's been, a little while now. So I go inside. I'm like, where's Daniel? And you're like, he's in his bedroom.
Writing.
no, I wasn't writing.
Shoot my sister.
I was just thinking. I was thinking I was gonna get beat up by Dad when I got home.
I'm
I
like,
was like,
oh no,
I'm
like,
gonna get
like
spanking.
a wonderful sister that I am. I'm like, I have to go check on my brother. I go to his room. The door's shut. There's a paper right at the door, the foot of the door, and it says, "Dead meat in here."
I didn't have to give him a consequence because he'd given himself one.
I was so scared Dad was going to come home and spank the crap out of me. You knew you were done.
Oh yeah. I knew what I had done, and yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Neither will I. Because I would go in and out of the room to check. Because when your dad said I'm getting a BB gun, my head exploded. And I thought, we do live in the woods, and Daniel can be a responsible little individual sometimes. But when I saw him aiming what I thought might be close to his sister's body,
Yeah,
no, can't fly.
Well, let me help you justify what my little child brain was thinking.
Okay, I would like to hear
So
this.
I was
please.
shooting the cans, the aluminum cans, right? And the BB would go into the can, and it wouldn't go out the other side. So I'm like, oh, this thing is not that. And then I started trying to find things that it couldn't penetrate. So I'd shoot at wood, it'd go kind of into the wood, and then I started shooting at this little stuffed animal. And every time I shot the stuffed animal, the BB would just bounce off of it, right?
That's right. That is why I went out there, because I saw the stuffed animal. I was like, what is he doing?
That's right. And then I'm like, Christina, look.
That is right. I went out there and I was like,
It doesn't shoot through claws.
and you wanted my Barbies. I wanted my Barbies.
My sister tells stories of what me and my brother did to her Barbies.
Oh my God.
We melted a few of them.
Yeah, I was not gonna let that happen.
The one that makes me and Mom laugh all the time. I don't know if he told you guys when he fell off the chair.
Yeah,
I know,
that's hard to describe though. They won't get that. It's a story from.
Is it one of those you had to be there?
Yeah,
for?
it
You had
was.
to be there.
Okay. Last call, anybody?
I have another one about.
Okay.
I just want to share this because we talked about this yesterday. But Matthew, this is a sweet memory.
Oh.
Yeah. Matthew was always like the best big brother for making sure that there were no monsters under the bed. I remember always being terrified of the dark and always being scared that
Yeah,
there
you
were
were.
monsters under the bed. And I would just come out of the room and Matthew'd be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, there's monsters under there. And he would just come, he would take me up the stairs and ask me what kind of monsters, is it a big monster? Is it like just ask me what kind of monsters it was, and I was
Furry.
like, yeah. So he would tuck me back in bed, and I'd feel all safe. And you would always make sure that the closet was shut. You see, nothing's coming out of there. It's all right. So I had to make sure that was a very special
Thank you.
memory.
Good job, big bro.
When our grandmother passed away, we ended up in San Jose, and this is about you, little one. And Kirk and Sherry came over, and you know the rest of that story. I hope you relay that to Kirk. Why they?
Half, yeah.
I hope you relay that to him later. But anyways, that night, the night you guys spent the night there, Sherry was like, where do you want to sleep? And you ended up sleeping on the couch, and I ended up sleeping on the floor next to you. And I remember I was holding your hand, and we held hands all night long. And then the morning came, and I was still holding onto your hand. You were still like gripping my hand like a death grip, and I was like, "That's my niece." That was a proud uncle moment, And I was like, "I got a niece," and it was one of those moments where I was like really, really happy that you accepted me and that you liked me, and I was like, so as sad as it was that we were there for a different reason, it was still a good moment for me to bond with you a little bit and at least have you know who your Uncle Matthew is. So that was really, really cool, and I was really happy that we was allowed to have that experience.
I forgot the end of the story. There was a little bit left that I forgot to tell you part. After I asked her if I could stop, if I stopped singing, will you stop crying? The last thing you said to me was, "Stop singing!"
Oh no!
So that was the. I remember it was like that was the last little bit. So I don't sing to you anymore.
I remember though when you were practicing for a church song, and you had the CD going and you're singing along with it, and this story came up because I was just so just admiring how far just that you were singing really great songs and just singing with the church, and it was really, I don't know, just fun to listen to you practice. And I mentioned that to her. I was just like, I love listening to you practice. And then Sherry just kind of paused the scene, looked over at me, and was like,
"Seriously?
No,
Now you're okay with me singing?"
No, I remember you telling me that when that happened.
Yeah. Because it was seriously. seriously, it was from that day after that, I never sang to you again because you just had none of it. Do not sing to me.
Well, maybe you need to know.
At your wedding, I'll sing to you at your wedding.
I will say this, Clay, you earned a dark mark on my records last Christmas when I came up here with Andrea and Grandma's going like, "Oh, here's your Christmas present, Matthew," and we got a gift. I was so happy that it was like, "Here, I'm so happy you thought of us. Thank you." And then she's like, "Oh, I got this over here for Clay," and I'm like, "Wait a minute." And then Clay gets here and Grandma brings him out this bottle of scotch, and I'm like, "Oh, really?" It's like, so that's how this is, Grandma. And I'm looking at Clay like, you just done buried yourself, brother. Like, it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. I just remember that was funny as all get
There was
out.
a reason.
We were looking at each other, and it was like when you came over to the house before the wedding, and I got up in the morning to get some coffee, and Clay's got my coffee cup, and he's like, "Did I go too far?"
It was more the look of, you did tell me I didn't have any cup, and you should have put your name on this one.
No. I clearly said, this Black Rifle cup is my favorite coffee cup the night before. And then the next day, he's got my cup in his hands, and he's like, and he knew it. And he was like, "Did I go too far?" And I'm like, "Boy." And then I'm like, "It's okay, it's just a coffee cup." So I went back in the kitchen, and he's coming back. He's like, "No, really, do you want your cup back?" I'm like, it's not that serious, man. But it's just funny how you were looking at me. You're like, "Did I go too far?" It's like, you're a good man, Clay.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we still have the running funny with when I was with I was over at Placerville and everybody was there, and I'm always, I'm old-fashioned Sicilian, so I kiss girls' hands, I open the door, I'm a real gentleman. So I was talking to Mary, and if you guys know Mary,
She's a different person.
she's a different person, and I was saying, listen, women are beautiful, delicate flowers, and men are cactuses, and that's still a running joke.
It's only been since 2001 that we used that joke, and it's a riot that it's
So
we
then I was
still
like to Mary,
laugh.
she's like, "How's the cactus?" I'm like, "How's
Yeah.
the delicate flower?" If you know Mary, she's not really a delicate
Not
flower.
even there's not even a tiny bit of her that's a delicate anything.
And if you know Mary, the last thing in the world she knows how to do is let shit go. She does not let things go.
Not every
Once she's
time
got
I
a
hear
hold of
about it.
something, once she remembers something that jogs her memory, she will not let it go.
She got
So
that
to
comes
this
by that
day,
naturally.
to this day, anytime we have any kind of communication with each other, she's like, "How's my boat?" Because there was a sailboat that I had that Dad had got for me, and we had it in the,
Mark
in the
Lees
backyard.
wanted to know if we wanted the boat, and
Yeah.
I said no, and you said yes.
I
And
was
so I
intention-
said, "Will you fix it up?"
My
and
intention was to patch it up. I didn't know how. I was gonna learn how, and I never did. So the dang thing sat there in the front yard
Until
for God
we had
knows
to
how.
get rid of it.
Until I had to get rid of it. So Aunt Mary, to this day, she's holding on to this thing, and she's like, "How's that boat?" I'm like, "I don't know. How's the lasagna?"
Every time she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot, I'm a delicate flower." Every time, I'm a delicate
You will
flower.
never
You
live
will
it down.
never live it down. Just like I'll
you
never
know
live
what?
down the
Thank goodness
boat.
Kirk's got an excellent sense of humor.
We all love Aunt Mary. I mean, I love her to death. She's a great lady. But man, she never let that go. She ain't never gonna let that
As
cactus
she
thing
should.
go.
I mean, you dug yourself a hole. Dig it out.
Oh, come on.
There's no ladder tall enough, honey.
At some point, you gotta say like Frozen, let it go.
I do have a story about Angelina. For one of her birthday parties, I think it was a princess theme, or it was a tea party theme. I can't remember the exact theme, but I remember that we dragged out every pair of high heels in Sherry's
God.
I do remember that.
And I just remember Angelina would take every pair of heel, and you were like this tiny little thing, little tiny feet, stick your feet in these high heels, and walk across the living room, and you just were like the most proudest little girl ever, like, "Look at these high heels, I'm gonna have all the shoes in the world."
That was when
It
she
was
was
so
into
cute.
high heels and purses, and she's just went little opposite direction now.
I have never seen a little girl with more of a purse than
She had a purse collection. This girl had purse to me.
Selena is. She's got to have
It was
purple
crazy.
shoes.
Yeah, she was. But it's funny how you change and you just become different.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
right.
just-
Yeah.
She's not that way anymore.
But that's one of the memories that I have of just how cute she was walking in all those high heels.
He starts turning into a tomboy. Mom's like, "You're supposed to be a girl."
I did. No, I used to say, I don't know if you guys remember, you guys were little, but when I was pregnant with her, I would say, if it's not a girl, I'm sending it back. I'm not having a boy.
We already have the 2 boys. We
And
have
if,
Cody and Zach.
and if I get a boy, I'm going to put girl clothes on it, and it's going to be a girl anyway.
I became a tomboy.
I decided, and but I don't know how many people know this, but actually, before I even knew I was having a child, I had a dream probably 2 or 3 years before I even knew I was pregnant. And I saw, in this dream, I saw a little girl with curly brown hair and blue eyes running around a house. And it stuck in my head because I'm thinking, I'm really supposed to know this child, but I don't. And then when she was about 4, I'm looking at her, and I don't remember where she was or what she was doing, but I just remember looking at her going, oh my God, that's the little girl that was in my dream.
Now she put a
And
request for God for
I
Zach's
was very
futures.
specific.
Curly
I
brown
prayed
hair,
for this
blue
child.
eyes.
I said, I am having a little girl, and she's going to have brown curly hair and blue eyes. And I'd forgotten about the dream. But I knew that this was what I was going to have.
I'm not surprised. You
and
got it knowing. There it is.
Well, and then I just decided, okay, well, if God changes his mind, he gives me a boy, I'm having a girl anyway, and I'll send this one back. That's how it is.
I'm glad that they kept you,
I'm
Angela.
glad
Yeah, I'm glad they kept you too.
Really? Yes.
I love everybody here. I want to express my gratitude for everybody to be here and for making this happen. This is not an easy thing to coordinate. We have all put our efforts into making this happen and making this happen the way it did, and enjoying each other's presence and company. And I've enjoyed seeing my family together in one place for the first time in a long time.
Here, here.
And I just want to say thank you to everybody and all the efforts and every little thing that you guys put into it. I am more than happy to be part of this family. I love you guys with all my heart. And if anybody ever needs me for anything, please call me. It'll only make me happy to help you. And I hope that goes all the way around to everybody, you know. Thank you guys so much for making this happen.
Thank you.
This means so much to me.
Well, it means a lot to everybody here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Thank you, Matthew. That
I
was
just
well
wanted to say
spoken.
thank you.
That was
and,
well
This
spoken.
side of Sherry's family, you guys have just all been acceptance, because I could tell you stories about the other side of the family.
we don't want to talk about that right now.
The one story's pretty funny though.
Video.
Oh,
Can
what?
you,
Yeah,
can
that's
you
another
feel the
video.
love?
Oh my
Can you feel the
gosh.
love?
We don't want that on camera.
No, we don't want that on camera. This is the important part right here.